assigning a float fractional value. Let's try it. It did work. 3ds Max did a simple conversion again, rounding the value down to 10 and assigning that instead. If we are going to the modify panel to check it, you'll see that it indeed has 10 height segments. Let's see now how we could check the properties of another type of object in Max, a material. For that, let's clean the scene by resetting it first, like that, then cleaning each of the respectable fields of the MaxScript listener by going to each one and use Edit, Clear All, to have a fresh start, a clean scene. Let's open the material editor. At all times, this material editor holds 24 materials. These are materials that are not necessarily used in the scene, but are available for modification already. If you don't see all 24, that's probably because in the options menu of the material editor, you can set how many slots you want to see at the same time. By default, it's usually set to 3 by 2. I've set it to 6 by 4 so that we can see all 24 of the materials. If we want to access the materials in the material editor, we can use the getMeditMaterial function. Which returns the material value of the indexed slot of the material editor. Every MaxScript function has a result that it returns. The simple multiplication function returned the result of the mathematical multiplication, which was a number. The getMeditMaterial function returns its own result, which is a value of material type. If, say, we wanted the first material in the material editor, we would go getMeditMaterial 1. Let's evaluate this line and see what happens. The result of this function is printed, as usual, in blue down here. 01 default standard. This doesn't say much as is, but if we know that the getMeditMaterial function returns the material itself as a result, it starts to make sense. We see the printout of the name and the type of the material. Standard. How can you use this returned value? The easiest way, of course, is by taking the returned result and putting it into a variable. So say our material equals getMeditMaterial1. This would put the first material in the material editor into our variable named ourMaterial. As mentioned in the variables part of this DVD, I tried to use a descriptive name for our variable that helps us identify what we have in it, like our material would have our material in it. So the same way we used show properties with the $sign variable holding a geometric object, we can use it with a variable holding a material. So if we evaluate this, then do show properties our material, that will give us a huge printout of all the properties of this standard material. You can see that the material has an awful lot of properties. These are just basic properties. That's a pretty big list. What is each for? Well, that can sometimes be a daunting question based on just the name. Of course, the MaxScript help has a full description of all the object properties. So when in doubt or looking for a certain property, open the MaxScript online help at the type description of the given object. In this case, we have a standard material, so it will be somewhere around standard. So let's open the MaxScript reference and go to the index tab. Since we're talking about a standard material, let's just start typing standard and see what comes up. Well, the first three is something else. You can tell that by the name. This is like standard objects, geometry, definitely not the material we are looking for. Standard open and save dialogues, or standard flow. But the fourth one is actually promising. Clicking on it will show us the contents. This is what we were looking for, the standard material type description. For each of the properties that were listed here, the help shows us the property name, the property type, the default value of the given property, and if the given property has one, the alias or alternative name of the property. So when you don't know what given property name covers, like shader type, just look it up in the help and you will have a description. What values can it take and what each of the values would actually mean. Well, let's see. If you're looking for the diffuse color, say we want to change the color of this material, it would probably be around here, diffuse. It's a color type and this is the default value, which is gray. It is animatable and its alias is diffuse color. It controls the diffuse color. The diffuse color is the color of the direct light. Well, that's something we already knew. So let's say our material dot diffuse. Let's make it all red, which means a color value consisting of 255 for the red channel and 00 for the green and the blue channels. Let's evaluate it. We can see the change instantly in the material editor. It changed to red, since the R material variable holds the actual material object in it, which is the same material that is in the first slot of the material editor. So let's sum up quickly what we learned about properties. Everything in 3ds Max can be considered an object with properties, be it a material, a geometric object, a controller, modifier, everything. These properties are the basic attributes of that given object. We learned to use the show properties function and touched the MaxScript online help as a way to get the property list of an object.